There you go.
Okay, hear nothing.
Man, my bad, you guys. I was talking to myself. We got Tony Lewis from DC. We got my co-host Loco. We got Chico Brown out of Compton, Blue from Long Beach, and one of y'all favorite. Forget about the shirt he got on. OG Rocchead.
What, Chico on there?
You know, Johnny, I see you.
What's
So
up?
we're going to be talking about re-entry program. Let's go, Rocchead.
Well, Chico, you showed up for something on time? Dang.
I'm tired. Oh, man, come on, man. You want to be funny, huh?
It speaks for itself.
This is important.
Everybody.
So we supposed to be talking about the re-entry program and, you know, brothers coming home from prison and trying to get back into society. I don't know what you brothers got going on in those aspects, but Tony Lewis, I want to start with you. Anything you could bring to the table?
Cool. Well, you know, my you know, I do a lot of different things, but my expertise, the lion's share of my work for the last 20 years has been in reentry, helping men and women as they return from incarceration, around family reunification, obviously getting back to their families and their children, but primarily around training and employment. And you know, as I matured in my activism, starting to impact policy that will remove the barriers that we know exist for so many of our family and friends that's coming home, that's trying to do it the right way, but there's so many impediments. So trying to address it from a policy and legislative standpoint. And so, you know, I get up in the morning to do that. And I think we're in a time now. And I just want to send a shout out to all our brothers and sisters that's behind the wall currently, you know, and trying to duck the COVID and all those things. You know, that when the economy is not probably going to return to where it was, it's probably going to take 1.5 years, 2 years for it to get back, if it ever does get back to where it was. And so our community, particularly what we call in DC, returning citizens, are going to be impacted the most. So I think we got to be laser focused on pushing, you know, our legislators and policymakers and the business community to not exclude them. You know what I'm saying? Because we know if that happens to a further degree than what is already happening, that's going to spill out in terms of public safety in our communities, right? And that's not what we want. And I've tried in my work also to sort of connect the dots of people, to not talk about mass incarceration or gun violence or gang violence or any of these things in a silo and in isolation, to really show how they all interconnected, and or education, all of these things is really about the destabilization of the adults in our community. And so for me, this population, particularly returning citizens, are the core, the answer to really helping our communities get back to where they need to be, by being able to create opportunities and programs for them to be to stabilize, whether it's through employment, entrepreneurship, guaranteeing that returning citizen-led businesses get contracts, all of those things that I think can be not only implemented here in DC, but implemented across the United States.
Okay. Chico Brown, you want to introduce yourself?
What up? Chico from Compton. Yeah, for me, it's like when I first came home, you know, I ended up opening up a few centers in Compton, Watts, and South Central. But then I ended up getting into the film business, not just for myself, to help guys, you know, from Compton to get into film business with me. So I have a production company. One of the TV shows I got to deal with Netflix, but it's called Compton Rising, and it was me putting Crips and Pyrus together to rebuild our city. I had a construction job. We was actually rebuilding like different buildings for the kids, community center for kids to go to, and we end up running into some problems with the city. But at the same time, we never stopped doing the work for us, you know, trying to save the community, get dudes jobs. And my biggest thing was helping dudes get jobs, like, because the city didn't really want to help the dudes because pride convicted. And I figured, like, all the stuff I've been through, if I can come home and end up starting a production company, I can carry my partners in with me and help me come, you know, help with the film production and help with all the other stuff that was going on in the city. So the show is actually, you know, we filmed all last year, and they're like eight episodes. We had a couple more episodes left, and we was actually filming when this virus started. So, you know, and it shows both. It shows Crips and Pyrus actually getting together, working together, building property in Compton. So it was gonna highlight the whole community stuff that we doing. And then me and Rock, about 4 or 5 years ago, we was part of this thing called Compton Empowered. That's how I started. Like 5 years ago, we had to start this program where we was getting gang members together, Crips and Pyrus. Everybody worked together. Program was beautiful. It just other stuff happened, political. As soon as I came home in 2001, I continued the open youth centers. That was my biggest thing, helping kids, you know, thrive in the community. And then when I got into the production part of it, I wanted to get them jobs because I know the jobs will actually, you know, so they can get out and live a productive life. Yeah, me and Rock do a lot of work together. He just ain't saying nothing.
Yeah. Oh, Rock could say something. Blue, so I know you had a lot of input on this reentry program stuff. What can you give us?
I want to commend Tony and Rock and Chico on the work they did. I seen the work you're doing and all the legal red tape you've been having to go through, Chico, trying to, you know what I mean, push that issue when you was raising that money and all that other kind of stuff too. And you too, Tony. You know, I work with Tony. He's over there in the mayor's office out of there in DC. And but I work with him on the ground. You know what I mean? He's out there in the community every day pushing policies and keeping the people going, trying to stop the regentrification down there in DC. But me myself, I just wish that I had brothers like y'all that I could have snatched hold to that would have pulled me, you know what I mean, and had these kind of support services for me when I first came home, because I've been having to figure this mess out myself, you know?
Yeah.
And so what I've been doing is I just been connected with brothers like Chico, Rod, and Tony, and connected other brothers with them to guide these brothers through the same thing. And me, I've been, you know what I mean, more or less concentrated also on the mental health aspect of things, dealing with trauma and a lot of trauma-informed practices as far as, you know, because where we came up, our normal is really abnormal, but we had this thing to where, like, you know, we do something to one of our people and be like, oh, fuck that nigga, you know what I mean? And so I had to look at like the mental aspect, like, damn, where did we get that from? You know what I mean? To make that become the norm and the self-hate. And it's kind of like what Nip said. Nip said, damn, when you out moving, you looking for somebody with that same energy like you know what I mean? That you passing up this white boy, you passing up this other dude that's dressed like a square, and you going after somebody that look just like you, that other warrior, that other soldier. So, you know what I mean? I had to really sit back and kind of evaluate that. And it comes back to having these reentry and these justice reform different services that we didn't have, that, you know, you guys are creating, man. So shit, man, I commend y'all on this, bro.
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, I see that. Go ahead, Rock. I know you itching to tell us.
Now, Tony, you know Jihad Abraham? Tony. That's Tony, right?
Yeah.
Tony, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hey, you know Jihad Abraham?
I can't hear him.
Jihad,
do you know Jihad Abraham?
Jihad Abraham, yeah, I know Jihad well.
From
He said he knows him well, Rocchead.
Oh, I hear him.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah, Tony Dad been up.
You remember when they had that summit in DC about snitching? What is snitching?
he said, do you remember the what was it, Rocchead?
They had a summit out there in DC about what is snitching.
What is snitching?
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember they did that. The Pizza Hut, Mo and Jahan them did that. I remember that.
That was me.
That's him, Rocky.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't there, but okay. Salute. I know your name was familiar. I ain't heard your name before though.
Yeah, they flew me out there, and I dealt with that because people was talking about what is snitching, and I kind of laid that shit out. A snitch is a snitch. Ain't no justification for it. I don't give a damn if you snitch on a cop, a dog, or animal. When someone commit a crime on you, no matter who they are, they no longer what they say they represent. But it's
OG.
I don't know why. But I mean, what worked for me, and what worked for me, my nephew first tried to keep me out of the life. Blue. You know, for those who don't know, Blue's my nephew. And he told me he didn't want me to go to the hood, stay out of Compton. Oh, all that bullshit. He wanted me to don't go back to Compton. Nigga, chill right now. Nigga, I got you, You know what I mean? Because once you get back in that belly of the beast, there's no turning back. And as Rocchead is, I didn't listen. You know, first I called myself. He said, I ain't never got touched dope. I ain't got touched nothing. I called myself, wanted to sell some cocaine, and got pulled over. And the first thing I said, I ain't going back to jail for this fucking ounce, and I ate it. And as I ate it, I'm not knowing people died eating a $10 piece of rock. So after the police gave me a ticket for doing a
But you didn't tell them how much you ate, Rock.
It was about an ounce.
You swallowed 2 ounces.
That's what it was. So what I did, I never, like I tell people, I don't panic. The reason why I think I'm alive through all the things I went through in my life, I never panicked. So I just drove 2 blocks to Blue's homeboy house, Bad Habit Rabbit from the 20s. And I said, man, I think I had enough dope, and my mouth started swelling up. And he stuck a water hose in it and called the ambulance and got me to the hospital. And I told myself, selling dope ain't me. But I say that to say that by me not listening to Blue, my nephew, I had to go through some tougher times. But because of them tougher times, it allowed me to meet Jim Brown. And if I didn't rebel to my nephew's opinion, I did not rebel. My nephew was trying to show me the right way. You know, I probably wouldn't have met Jim. Because when I did step back in Compton, I became that animal. I started doing a lot of stupid shit. Then when I met Jim, what amazed me about him, he challenged my mind. When he introduced that 15-chapter life skills program, American, and that had to do, it made me deal with my own childhood conditioning and my taboos. And once I took ownership of me and my childhood condition, it allowed me to take responsibility. And once I took that responsibility, it allowed me to be the person I am today. So what I'm saying is that 80% of all the organizations that's working here in LA went through American program.
Can you see me?
About 80%.
Can't see nobody.
Huh?
Hold
About 80% of the guys all went through the American program. And they all took something from American and created their own foundation. And they can't deny that. In re-entry, me and Jim, we've been trying to get that for a while. Even with my own I Can Youth Foundation, I've been trying to get in that because at the end of the day, re-entry, you got to be able to educate these young men. You got to be able to educate these guys getting out. Because these guys get out and we sitting in front of them and telling them A to Z, and they still got the same mindset, and they're not taking responsibility for themselves, then we're gonna have the same animal. Because what American did, it made you deal with self. There's a lot of programs out there, and American is not the sole solution, it's part of the solution. What Tony do is part of the solution. What Chico does is part of the solution. It's like what we deal with Bone from Anthony's. Because of American, the lady from Street Lights came and said, I want to take a certain of your guys, teach them and train them into into the movie production and stuff. And about 8, 9 guys,
I can't
but
hear.
Bone which allowed Bone to excel in the way he excelled and a lot of that stuff that he went through American last week. So what Chico's doing in the production, Chico gets out, works for what was the organization, Chico? Home? A place called Home.
Yeah.
A place called Home. I mean, the only way re-entry to me could really work for all of us and to really deal with these guys getting out, we all have to collaborate and come together. Because each of us got something different. We all got something different, but it's as one. Because you get a kid out and all you're doing is prepping him, telling him the do's and don'ts, get him a job. But again, if he's not mentally set, we're going to get the same responses. When people deal with recidivism, we always talk about the system always talk about recidivism. If 100 guys get out and only 20 of them go back to jail, what that say? Can somebody answer?
Something's working.
Something's working? Anybody else?
Yeah, that's what I say.
I say if 100 people get out of jail and only 20 go back within that year, what that say about recidivism?
That's progress right there, because the recidivism is almost 76% of going back.
But let me show you something.
Yeah.
20 of them went back, but how many committed a crime and got away with it? I'm just saying. And once I understood that, I don't even give a damn about recidivism, because I've seen organizations out here. They treat good, they do good, and sometimes the people right there with them on that table just committed a crime. It goes back what I've always been saying with me and Kev. You can't ride the fence. Because once they see you set a certain type of example, then these guys going to bend over backwards for you. But once they see around other people, you're positive, then around them in the hood, you're something else, then it don't add up. Because re-entry is a tricky situation. And like Blue said earlier, a lot of guys got mental problems. A lot of people don't get the system, man. I say 20-30% of men who went to the California system from youth authority to prison was on some kind of drug. From Thorazine, etc. And then another 45% was on crack cocaine or Sherman. So go ahead, Blue.
Hey, I want to ask Blue something. How much time did you do, Blue?
Oh man, I did. I went from camp, youth authority to prison. I did 2 stints in the county jail, one for 32 months, one for 36 months when I was fighting a double highway attempt, fighting a death penalty case. I ended up doing like 5.5 in prison, but I've done a lot of county jail time. I've had a grand tour, man.
Okay, when you came home, what type of resources was you looking for? What did you need to get to make you feel like you was gonna be all right?
I just need. All right, this is what happened to me. Look, when I came home, I basically got poverty pimped. All right, I last told to somebody in my community who was doing some community work. You know him, right? Because y'all was doing y'all program over there. You and Spit. You ain't got to, you know what I mean? So what happened was I was hanging with this older guy in my community who was doing community work. So what happened was he would take me around to all these meetings, and we'd be meeting with all these people, and then we come back and these people, and he tell these people like, this is a young man. I'm thinking that he's gonna help me get some employment or some type of work skills or something, you know. So he would take me to all these meetings, come back, and these people would donate money to his organization, his program. But I noticed he would tell them that this is a young man that I'm working with in my community. Hold on, you ain't working with me. You ain't doing nothing. We just hanging out. I'm just with you, waiting on you to give me some type of to refer me to some type of services so I can get me a job or something. And so I started looking at that, man, and I'm like, well, damn, like, you know, what I needed was I needed some type of employable skills. I just needed something to put food on the table, because at the end of the day, when I went home after hanging out with him, he give me like 20, 25 bucks. I'm like, damn, man, but I just went in there with you and you just told the people that you working with me and you just closed out a contract. You know what I mean? These people just gave you 50 to 100 racks. I'm like, God damn. You know what I mean? So from there, man, I did what I had to do, man. I ain't gonna lie, I went out and did what I had to do, man. And then finally I was like, well, fuck it, like, how could I put security on myself? Like, you know, all our life we put security on the hood, we put security on the homies and everything else. So then that's when I started looking like, well, damn, like, how am I gonna put value on myself and take myself away from that? You know what I mean? Because I started looking at the game started getting what had already been faulty, I ain't gonna lie. But then the reality of it just really dawned on me, like, hold on, bro, like this I don't even deserve to be a part of it in that element right there. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna remove myself from that, and I'm gonna come over here. And then I just, like, I was already doing the work. Say, like, you might have a conflict with somebody from this neighborhood, and then somebody from your neighborhood might have a conflict. And so you might come in the middle of it and say, hey, I know such and such from over there. Hold on, let me make a call. Let me see what's happening. So then you resolving that conflict. So we already been doing this work, but then I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, people getting paid for this work. And then the people that are like from the community that's bringing me in to resolve these conflicts, they're taking all the credit for it. Like, for instance, one summer we came to a peace treaty. So the crime rate went down the whole summer. And so now I find out that all these people set over here at City Hall with all these groups talking about they're responsible for it. So then my homeboy sister was like, "No, Blue." And then I told her about it. And she was like, "What?" She said, I knew it was something. So she said, you guys need to start stepping forward and coming to sit down at these tables and let these people know, because these people are going in there securing contracts and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just needed somebody like me, Chico, that I understood, that been through what I've been through from the life, to just show me something different and tell me different. I had homeboys that had jobs and all that kind of stuff, but it was like they wasn't turning me on to the game. You know, they were working in refineries and getting other jobs. They wasn't turning me on. So I'm like, damn, I'm just looking like, so I just had to make my own way. I just, like I said, just needed somebody like one of these brothers to say, hey, bro, check this out. You can move in this direction. That's all I needed, was somebody relatable.
Right. I want to get to Tony and Chico in 1 second. Ron, introduce yourself. Can't hear me, Ron? I don't think Ron can hear me. That's one of Raymond Washington's nephews. He just did a life sentence, so I want to hear what he been through since he came home. But so Tony and Chico, I'm curious to what resources do you guys have for people like Blue coming home and just kind of really don't know nothing but the gang lifestyle and hang around the homies?
I'm gonna speak on that. First one was like what Rock was saying about recidivism is true, and this is exactly what happened. In '89, I think my first case was in '89. So when I come home in '89, '90, you know, I won the case. I went to trial in the federal case, and I ended up winning the case. But what I found out about me going back to prison was I didn't find nothing that was exciting for me. I didn't find nothing that, you know, working with the kids, that was something that I wanted to do. When I first came home after winning my case, so I get right back in the game. So when me and Freeway go the second time, you know, it wasn't until the next time I came home I realized I got to find something that I really enjoy doing. And one of it was like, I know what Rock do, like the AAU program, getting kids involved in, you know, making them pros and stuff like that. So that's what really kept me out of prison, is dealing with the kids. And so my whole focus was open up youth centers and teach kids, like, there's other ways that you can make money. And then when I was showing them other ways to make money, if it's going to the pros, if it's in the backstage. So that's what kept me focused. And after the focus, it was not me just being okay. It was like everybody around me got to be okay. So now my whole mission is, okay, let's work together. Let's make this shit happen together, not just me. And so even when me and Rock started this program in Compton called Compton Empower, we started with 4 dudes. Before we ended, it's over 1,500 Crips and Pyrus coming to our meetings. So I know this stuff can work, the re-entry and teaching dudes new skills. That's all we was about for the last 20 years since I've been home. That's all I've been doing. It's like really trying to get these dudes involved. If it's, whatever program it was, if it's electronics, get them in school, and this, because I got a program I'm doing now with Compton College. It's called Compton Rising. And that's getting dudes from the street, getting them in Compton College and teaching them a trade. And then, I make sure the job placement is there for them. And right before this coronavirus, me and Rock was up there with me at Compton College. That was our last day before the virus. And I implement the program into Compton College to make it work. But not just for me, for all the dudes, every Crip, every Pyru, every Hispanic gang, that we can show them a different way to make this stuff really happen. Because after keep doing this, man, it gets a time when you got to just sit back and think, how do we stay out of prison? Because that's the easiest thing to do, to go back to prison. The hard thing is doing to stand out. So you got to stay focused on what you want to do and keep your mind straight. Because now, we all 50, damn near 60 years old. So we talking about going back to prison after death sentence. So me trying to get a kid to understand what it is. I tell them about my lifestyle, I tell them about my past. I go into all of that. And the whole programs that we got, and from like I was really waiting for the TV show to go out to come on, so everybody in the world can see how we made this happen. And it's just not me, it's everybody. We put this work in. Sometimes political stuff get into play, can mess a lot of stuff up. So brothers like us, man, we got to stay together, stick together, man, and just really try to make this work, because we can make it happen. When I came home, I've been doing this for 27 years. The nonprofit stuff, I started a nonprofit as soon as I came home, and I understood how to get the money. And then of course I had backers from Penny Marshall and Mark Wahlberg, but at the same time I was getting the money and bringing it back to Compton or Watson, wherever my youth center was. So that's what I found out that I can make that part happen for us getting the money and then helping the dudes really I didn't want no dudes that work in construction. I first, Rock can tell you, I was paying dudes out of my pocket every day. I give a dude the whole construction crew. It's 15 of them. I'm paying them out of my pocket until I understood, okay, we can make this happen. And first I started with just doing houses. Then Mark Wahlberg is the one who said, Chico, what if we rebuild the whole city of Compton? So that's how the whole TV show started. But I put myself in position and place for them to be able to allow me to make it happen. And brought the dudes with me.
Good stuff, Chico. You got something, Tony, something like that to explain to the people?
Yeah, man, I got a lot of things I think I would like to talk about, but I know we ain't got a whole lot of time. But so obviously, I think it's important, right, that people, that we have relationships with the business community, right? So that we can very quickly and seamlessly connect individuals that's returning to employment opportunities. What Chico said is spot on in terms of, and not just giving them some job, but something that really piqued their interest, something that's really in line with what they want to do. But I think that also goes along with sort of, what can happen pre-release. And unfortunately in DC, we ain't got no state prison system, so everybody go to the feds. So we don't got no autonomy or no say-so in what kind of training that's made available to DC dudes. And then they coming home to one of the most competitive job markets in the country. So it's a big skill set gap. So for me, training has been really, really important, connecting men and women to occupational skills training to get them, up to speed on the skill set so they can be competitive in the job market. But when we start talking about, re-entry, right? Housing has never been as important as it is today with gentrification. Blue mentioned my work and dealing with gentrification. And a lot of that really was about how displaced Black people have been in my city. You know what I'm saying? And particularly men and women that's been locked up before. So transitional housing is a key thing. Obviously, treatment and mental health supports, because people, the trauma, really hitting our people, man. And a lot of times it's been normalized, and we've been accepting it and acting like it's the regular thing. But when you start talking about people moving forward, as it relates to in the professional setting, that trauma real, and we need to address that. We got to help our people heal. So that's been at the forefront of what we've been trying to do also. And then creating, again, back to the legislative piece, man, really playing a part civically and politically to ensure that this funding that's going to community-based organizations, so that people in mentorship is really crucial and critical in the reentry space, I feel. And it can't just be, you can't read no book. I'm read, and I realize that, right? I ain't done a day, but I come from a situation where everybody around me literally been in and out of jail my whole life. So I've been doing time with them. My father been in, I'll be 40 on the 28th. My father been in since I was 9. My uncles was in prison my whole life up till I was 15. I've been going around this country, the federal prisons, literally my entire life. And unfortunately, now I'm taking my babies in the federal prison. And I don't say that because I ain't poking my chest out or nothing. And I live in the same house I grew up in. Anybody out there in the world can Google Hanover Place in DC, and it'll be, you'll see what I come from. And I'm still here. I ain't never leave. Everything I've done from right here. And so I share that to say that this work is personal, and it's informed by what I've lived and seen. And we've never probably needed more support for our men and women coming home than we need today. And particularly, we talk about recidivism. When you talk about the people that's 18 to 35, the recidivism rate is incredibly high, and people 35 to 50 is right under that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that has to do with the education and skill set gap. So we gotta hone in on that while people are incarcerated, and then we got to set up the infrastructure that when people return, that they able to get the training and the connectivity that they need to take whatever track they want. And we've in DC also, I'm proud to say that we've been able to set up a lot of entrepreneurship programs, and not just for the sake of teaching people how to do a business plan, but to help people fully develop their business ideas and then link them to capital. And also had them teach them how to be competitive for contracts. Now, I'm also a believer that everybody, that's not for everybody, but if those guys can get contracts, then in turn, sort of the what Chico was talking about in his pro, you can hire people that look like us, that come from our circumstances. And so we got to continue to build that ecosystem and hold these companies that's getting all these subsidies and shit, they hold them accountable to hiring our people. And then even on the even in terms of like this group right here, when they having these big forums on reentry and returning citizens and things that's happening in the hood, we got to be at the forefront. Not nobody that ain't lived it. There's a lot of things that's getting missed because people are speaking for us, and they don't. And just being black don't mean you understand this shit. You know what I'm saying? Being black don't mean that you know about these things in depth, and we can speak for ourselves. And that's just like if somebody asks me what it mean a lot. I'm that type of dude. Anybody know me and tell you, Blue will tell you, like, I'll be like, well, I ain't never did no time. Let's talk to this person. But if you ask me what it feel like to be a family member, what it feel like to send money for 30 years, go on visits for 30 years, to go see lawyers, to go see girlfriends, to go, you ask me about that, I'm gonna tell you because I've lived it. I live it every day. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that I feel like collectively, like I hope that from these conversations that we can not only share information about what's working, what doesn't, and but we can kind of build and support each other. And in closing, I also know that some of the interventions that we're doing, like when I came out to LA to see what Blue and them was doing, some of that stuff was amazing to me, right? I was like, damn, I put that in my toolbox. But then some of it I felt like wouldn't work in DC, right? Because some of the dynamics are different, and vice versa. But that's why it's important that we had these dialogues and these conversations. You know what I mean? Because the reality, the thing that is the same, our people dying and our people going to prison. You know what I'm saying? And our people, our communities, and our families marginalized because of that. Jail or prison has been the greatest destabilizer in our community. You know what I'm saying? Because when people come home, they got so many barriers up against them. You know what I mean? And we got to fight, to remove all that. A dude should be able to live where he want to live once he pay his debt to society. A dude should be able to work where he want to work once he pay his debt to society. Because if not, we won't be able to stabilize our families and our communities the way that we need to.
Real talk. And I know you say you ain't poking your chest out, man, but that's big that you haven't been to prison. You're sitting here with all dudes that been to prison. And
yeah,
so,
that's all I've ever been around. So I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I'm at home. I mean, that's really, you know, that's my life. This my life. You feel me? These my homies. I know Blue, but when I look in the eyes of these gentlemen right here, they my big homies. They my uncles. They my father, my big homie. They, you know what I'm saying? So I'm right at home, and that's one of the things. That's what I know. Sometimes I get in rooms that they won't let them in sometimes, right? And when I go in them rooms, they with me, they spirit with me, they
right.
cause with me. You know what I'm saying? That I feel like that's my role, and I feel like also that's why I don't get in certain rooms, because I've been in them rooms and I don't be quiet when I'm in them. I let it be known. You feel me? Because this is what, you know, that don't happen enough. I every day, bro. You know, like I said, even my homies, all my homies in jail, bro, or in the cemetery for real, the dudes I come up with. You know, I grew up in D.C. when we was the murder capital of the United States, man, all through the 90s. You feel me? Like, and my homies ain't make it. And so when I'm in spaces, it's never lost on me how lucky I am. And I didn't work my ass off, don't get me wrong. And I didn't dealt with a lot of things, bad a lot. But at the same time, I recognize how blessed I am, and I don't take that for granted. That's why I go hard. There's a lot of things that I do that I don't necessarily have to do, but I do have to do them. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that, you know, that's my role. That's why God spared me. You feel me? That's why them bullets ain't hit me. That's why when the FBI came, they ain't indict me. You feel me? So I could be in a role where I can help my people.
Yeah, my hat's off to you, bro, and respect for your loyalty. And I don't know about going to see all them girlfriends, man. I hope they wasn't your girlfriends.
Nah, you know how that be your father. You know, bro, I gotta buy his girls gifts, my cousins, my homies, man. Go drop some money off to their baby mother. You know, that's what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't been here. And unfortunately, you know, the reality of it is all of us from the same place. We know when a lot of people go to jail, bro, to a lot of dudes, even the dudes they didn't protect it. You know what I'm saying? Dudes they might be in jail for, forget about them. I ain't never been that type. I've been pushing 5. I've been going on them visits. I'm a write back. I'm gonna send pictures, and I'm gonna try to help out where I can. You know what I'm saying? And anybody in Washington D.C. know that about me. You feel me?
Yeah, salute. Cause that ain't easy, man. That ain't easy. Hey, Loco.
Hey.
Hey, how was it for you transitioning from the penitentiary back to the streets? And what city did you parole to?
Okay, man, that's a good question, bro. It wasn't too tough, man, because you know a lot of the guys and stuff, man, that actually, you know, I knew that came back to prison. I was able to find out from them what was going on out here, man. And the biggest thing was removing myself from people, places, and things. So instead of going back to San Antonio, where I caught my crime, where I did all my dirt, I came to Houston, man, you know what I'm saying, for the job opportunities, you know what I'm saying, and the chance to really kind of like start over again, man, really start over again. You know, eliminating all them pressures and all them different people around me and shit that I grew up with. And it worked out for me, man, you know what I'm saying? I've been out since July 04, by the grace of God, you know what I'm saying?
How'd you find employment?
Well, that was you know, we have a whole lot of petroleum and industrial plants down here, man. So before I got out, man, a guy that went to church with my mother just reached out a helping hand to me, man. One of the most beautiful black brothers I ever met down here, man, in this industry, because he's a big wig, and he really don't have to help nobody, but he helped me. He got me in the door, and I took it from there, man. I took off running with it. I said, shit, this is my opportunity right here. And now today, man, I'm a project manager. You know what I'm saying? I do a number of things in the plant, my specialties. I employ up to 30 and 40 guys at a time, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's all Crips and Bloods. It's all Mexican guys that been through something. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do down here, bro. And I'm pretty well known for doing it. You know what I mean?
Rocchead, you want to touch on what one of the brothers spoke on?
No, with Tony, with DC, I spend a lot of time out there, Tony. With Malik.
I can't hit a brother for some reason.
With Malik, Jihad, and David. And like you said, the dynamics there are so night and day. And I said the other day, the dynamics in Chicago are so night and day. California has its own West Coast style. And just, and just listening, and it's sad, but at the same time, we can feed off each other. And that's the strength of this bond, this relationship we building right now with all the brothers from across, because we can always build and piggyback off one another. And like Jihad has a tendency of always calling me, when there's contracts that I can get here in LA. And without them kind of partnerships and friendships, once you meet and feel and believe in someone, there's nothing. Like Chico said, the Compton and Power thing, when we had all them Crips and Power rules together, it was one of the most beautiful moves in the world. But when you got the politicians motivated just about what they're about, and once they got what they wanted, they dropped it. And since they dropped it, the murder rate just jumped back up again. They don't talk about it because it's corona shit, but it's vicious again. But because we sat down and communicated, and it wasn't about was the red the strongest or the blue the strongest. It was about men sitting down communicating. And that's what we built in Compton. And as long as we continue to be men and lead the politics to the politicians, I think we could conquer anything in any city. I mean, we had a contract in Long Beach where I hired half 20s, half insane. And we had the youth bill back in 1999 to 2004. 100% successful. They didn't renew the contract because they said basically we were too black. You get what I'm saying? We were too black.
Hey, Rock.
Yeah.
Hey, Rock.
Yeah.
I was on a community forum meeting today, and I went on their head about the same thing. They was talking about different things, and I told them, no, we got to be specifically unapologetically black. I was on there with the city councilman and all the other people. And they were saying, and I was letting them know, like, no, that's the problem, is all of our money gets allocated amongst these other groups of people. And even like I sit on the neighborhood leadership program, but guess what? And I called them on, I said, well, damn, look, I see nothing but nepotism going on right here. But I know 1,000 people. I've been in this city for 48 years. I know 1,000 people that's qualified to do what that person's son, daughter, and everybody else on the city payroll doing. And I know 1,000 other people that's doing more than they doing. And I had to tell them, because you was over there with us when we was at that's where y'all did y'all program with Jim at over there with Pastor Woods. Rock.
Yeah.
And he was on the phone, and I told him, I said, when these murders jump off or when these problems arise, we're the ones that's in these spaces and in these houses, in these people's face. I don't see none of these people right here, but you guys are always saying that you can't discriminate. No, you have to discriminate, and you have to be unapologetic, because every category that there is that you guys are talking about, we're at the bottom of it. Us, the blacks.
Yeah.
And that's why, like what Tony said, we can't back up out of these spaces, and that's why I'm continuing to lunge and move forward in these spaces. I'm bogarting in these spaces because, like I told them, you guys are the reason that we're on life support in the black community as it is, because we've delegated all of our power and empowered and trust to you guys with your false leadership.
Yeah,
and your self-serving leadership. You know what I mean? And that's why we're in the condition that we is. But like I told them, no, we can't. And you understand what I'm saying, Rock? They don't want to put nothing to the side for us, but they have to. They put it for everybody else.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
Hey, Ron, can you hear me?
Yo.
Hey, how much time did you do, bro? What was your sentence?
Oh, I did 29 years on a 15-year life sentence.
And how long you been out?
I've been out 16 months.
What was your transition like from the penitentiary to the streets?
Shit, it's been a blessing for the most part. I'm working. I'm trying to find avenues to start doing other things to help the community. But the transition is still going. I mean, you know, it's a blessing for the most part, whether it's good or bad, man. I'm just out here loving this shit and I'm just trying to be productive, man.
Hey, was it easy for you to get a job? Did you have to go to halfway house? Tell us how that went.
Yeah, when I paroled January of 2019. I had to go to a transitional house for 6 months. And then the only way I can come out is to have a job. So I did work for a minute for my sister. She worked for a hair salon. She owns her own hair salon company called Dream Girl. So I worked with her for a minute until I was able to go out and find me another job, which I worked for Home at Last at a homeless shelter. That's where I work at today. I've been working there for like 6 months.
All right, all right. Hey, while you was gone, your mother passed, right?
Yeah, my mother passed on my birthday, man, on 2018. And the cool thing about it, I went to the board 6 days after that and got found suitable. And I came home in January, and then 3 months I was able to spend time with my pops, and he passed away like 3 months after I got out.
So as a parolee during all that time, and then what you went through with your mother and your father passing, was it any psychological help offered to you, or was there anybody you could go back to for mental health or anything like that?
Well, when my father passed, the only thing they could do for me really is let me stay home like a week. They let me come home for about a week to be with my family. But when my mother passed away, I was able to talk to a psychiatrist. I was able to talk to one and just really talk, and it kind of helped me a whole lot to really deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I got family members that still, to this day, haven't really dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to help them through the process too. You know, from what I've learned from the doctor I talked to.
All right, Chico Brown, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback on what Rock was talking about, the Compton and Pop. Like he said, that was one of the most beautiful things that we could have ever done. Like I said, it only started off with like 4 of us. And we took that program from 4 of us to over 3,000. I'm talking about we went to every neighborhood and we went found everybody who called shots in their neighborhood, and we brought them to the table first. So our whole goal was like, okay, you need to go get your young homie and you need to talk to him. And this is what we doing. And this went on. We had meetings every Tuesday and Thursday. Like, it was a lot of shit going down. Like, it was gunplay, but nobody didn't even trip off the gunplay at the time. We like, no, we ain't gonna let this happen. So for about 6 months, building this program, I sit at the table, Rock sit at the table. We're like, this ain't gonna happen, but we can't do this, man. If we do this, we losing everything we trying to make up. So this went on, and so the program gets so popular now we like every good is to the table now. We went from, like I said, from 4 to our meetings was over 500 people at a time. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say everything went smooth. We had altercations in there, but nobody moved. Whatever the altercation is, we're going to have it right there at this table, and we're going to move on because we know everybody killed each other. One of the greatest things that could ever happen. But other people have other motives. If it's talking to the president, whatever the motive was, that's what I think, Rock. That's my opinion on what happened to our program and why it didn't become like a national program where we can actually, if we can sit and talk, we didn't shot this person shot that person, and we came to the table, man. You know how big that could have been? But the program ended up ending on political issue. And that was one of the reasons I started the construction company, was to hire the dude because the city promised them all jobs, and that shit wasn't gonna never happen. So I ended up creating a construction company and hired all the dudes to work under my construction company just to keep the flow going. So, Rock, man, is what we got to do that and put it back together. You're right, man. The killing is going up. Girl just got killed the other day in Santana. So It's a lot of stuff we gotta talk about. So that I'm an advocate of trying to get the dudes together, bro.
And Rocchead, when you and Chico got together and started this program that you guys talk about, how did you go about getting the Pyros on board? Did you know these dudes from Compton or from prison or what?
No,
We all know each other for real.
you know what happened? I was doing giveaways in Compton, and I did 5,000 toys that Christmas, and then I did I was doing giving out clothes, toys, and barbecue at the oldest house in Compton behind City Hall, and the mayor showed up, and the mayor asked me, "Hey, do you think I'm gonna be elected mayor again? Do you think you get all the Crip? Can I give an audience to the Crips and Bloods, Crips and Pyro?" And at that time, I had Leaders Park there, Campolletto there, West Side. I had about 4 or 5 of the key Pyros there anyway, and I had about 9. So I said, "Oh." I brought them all over and told her what the mayor said. They said, "Oh, we can do it. We'll do it. We'll listen to what she got to say." And again, because of relationships, it made it happen. Because we first started, you had some guys within our circle. "Oh man, we shouldn't bring the Pyros in. Let's deal with the Crips first.
Right quick, I'm on a podcast.
Let's deal with the Crips first and let the Pyros do their own thing." You had the political bullshit like always. But eventually we all came together, so we don't let everybody. And because of relationship, it worked. See, even when American got the contract in Compton and 2005, people got to understand what per capita means. Per capita, Compton was rated number 4 in the United States in murders in 2005. So they brought American in. The first people I hired was Pyro Crips. Because I know for me to be effective, I gotta transcend all that other bullshit. I can't get caught up into that shit if I want something to work. And that's why it goes back to what I've always said. When you ride the fence, you can't win. But if you sincere about what you pushing and you believe in what you pushing, anything is possible. And we show and prove that it works. But it takes relationship. It takes people to begin to trust you. At first, it was a lot of trust. You know what I mean? Like he said, we had one meeting. One day, you had Pyros and Compton Crips in there. You had 2 Crips. You had 2 Crip sets pull out Uzis and shit, and we shut that down right there. You know what I'm saying? So we always point the fingers at one or the other, but shit, we killing each other. But it was a process, but the final results was beautiful. And my man Ron.
Yeah.
When you got out, you went to that halfway house. See, when I got out, I didn't go to a halfway house. I actually stayed with my sis, Blue Mom. And but I was staying with Blue and going back and forth to Henderson and all the other shit. But I used to see a lot of signs. They told me I was crazy or whatnot. And every time I saw one, they said I was intelligent. And I went through like 8 parole officers, and they kept me on parole for 5 years. For you to get out, and I used to sit in my cell for almost 20 years in incarceration. I used to watch people get out and come back, get out and come back, get out and come back. They can't get a job, they can't get this. And for you to sit here and knowing you just lost your mother, lose your father 3 months later, and your mind is so strong. Not only you got a job, you confident your other family members. I mean, I commend you, homie, because what we went through in our lives, what we took ourselves through, And for us to have any sense, especially as fresh out as you are, I gotta commend that, homie. Because you
Oh
on your
yeah.
job, and for you to say, I want to get out and figure out another kind of way I can help my community, man, that's beautiful. And
Yeah.
if men get out and think like that rather than have their hands out, we can turn a lot of shit around. But the average person that gets out, they got their hands out. They think you owe them something.
Yeah.
Nigga, I tell people this, man. In the about 20 years I've done, I got one visit, one package, and one letter. I didn't want shit, man. I put myself in that. But I had everything I want behind that wall.
Yeah.
When I get out, I haven't talked to my nephew yet. He didn't know when I was gonna get out, because no one did, because I beat my appealing part. So when I beat my appealing part, when I got out, and he got when I got out, he took me up under his wing. And although when he took me up on his wing, he gave me advantage. My weakness at that time was I wasn't used to women. So I was falling in that trap, falling in love. You know, the parole officer, they coming to his house, his mom's house, making me sit outside in the rain at 2 or 3 in the morning every time they visit me and shit. I knew if I could take them 8 years in the hole, if I can endure all the shit I endured behind that wall, I cannot allow that to affect me. And my mind said, as long as you don't put their hands on me, I'm gonna sit there in the rain. And I had to condition myself to do that. So with the balance of me not wanting to go back, because I've seen so many people go in and out after 2 months out, a week out, a year out, they come right back and brag about their moments. I didn't want that. So my first 6, 7 months, I listened to my nephew. You know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, he did everything for me. And I'm like, God, man, I can't have no little nigga take care of me. I'm a grown-ass man. Then I got a job at Valley's Health Spa before they turned the Holiday Inn, Holiday Express Bar. Then I got a job at a home for the adult handicaps. And as soon as I started doing that and the situation happened, I found myself right back in the belly of the beast. Blue was going in and out of jail. Every time he get arrested, I was bailing him out. And I even told Blue at that time, man, they trying to juice you. They try to take all your resources where you can't get bailed out. But Blue wanted to get bailed out, period. You know? But again, my mind, I lost it. I started doing ignorant and stupid stuff until my homie said, let's go up to Jim Brown house. And when I went to Jim Brown house, man, I'm be honest, man, when he said about bitch or a man, I just went so far. He said his house, I went up there with a bad intent. But when he looked me in my eyes and said, well, man do this, they think, that fucked me up. And he saw my tray 5.7 hanging on my side. And then he said, Rocchead, you got to deal with you. You got to deal with your taboos, your childhood conditioning. I mean, I've never been challenged like that. And because of that moment, it made me see something. But until I got in that program, that life skills, like everybody said, life skills, homie. So I got that. Ain't no telling where I would be today, dead or in jail. So, again, because it ain't easy. We make it look easy because we tough outside. We tough as fuck. But inside, shit still go through my head. And I've been out since 1992. I've been out 20 years now. Ain't seen a jail cell. And the one time I got pulled over and got in the back of a police car for doing a California roll, she said a ticket, outstanding ticket. Nigga, I got in the back seat of the police car. I asked her what question. She said, yeah. Has it always been this small back here? And that motherfucker felt tight to me. And I told myself, I don't know how a motherfucker want to keep getting behind these little motherfuckers. You know, but again, I commend you. Again, unless we come together, unless we have people on every level that can guide us where the resources at, where the resources at, and show us how to get it and apply for it. And some of us don't. Some of these organizations, we don't have the skill set. We don't understand. We're gonna get somebody a writer, RFP writer. You know, we got to pay that person, et cetera. And then we looking like, man, I ain't paying that person nothing, because again, in the back of our minds, we thinking how we normally think and used to think, rather than understanding the process. And that's our biggest fight, understanding that process. But one thing Jim said when a lot of them organizations, a lot of them, the money was coming from the city. Jim said, well, we're not a gang and prevention program. We like skill. Secondly, we not polices. You get what I'm saying? Yep. They got us out there being polices, man. We're not that. We got to have our own economy. That's why he had a non-profit and a for-profit arm.
Yeah.
But I commend everybody, man. I hope that we can take this moment and build off of it. It's like when I mentioned Jihad from DC. I mentioned Malik, who was paralyzed for almost 40 years. He's walking again from DC. When I mentioned the GDs, the BDs, the Black Disciples, the Mickey Cobras, you know, and I went to Minnesota. Every state that I went through representing American, I still got relationships with 2 or 3 of them brothers from back then, from the 90s. And I can pick up the phone anytime, and most of them brothers are still on a positive path.
That's right.
Hey, excuse me, Ron, how you doing, man? I want to commend you as well, man, for making it home up out of that place, man. So my question to you, big homie, is well, I got a few of them. I've been sitting here thinking all kind of questions, man. But look, I mean, I don't want to put too much on you. When you went in, man, you know what I'm saying? You had to go in around 1990 or so.
Yeah, 1990.
Yeah. So from the state of when you went in, man, to coming out now, what do you think about the state of the Crips and the Bloods and the plight that we're facing now of something that, you know, your uncle created? You know, what do you think about all that? You kind of probably know where I'm going with it. You know what I'm saying? Just answer it how you want to answer, bro.
When I came in, I was 18 years old. You know, gang like all of us gang banging. But no, you know, I chose this lifestyle. It wasn't like this lifestyle was something that came about. I chose it. You know, I had good parents, good lifestyle. But going in, you know, it was like, damn, it was just straight gang bang. It was basically hoods against hoods, whether it be Crip on Crip, Crip on Blood, or whatever. It was just like that. But going into the pen, it was like, damn, that's what I thought it was gonna be like until those who I deemed my enemies at one point in my life was the ones looking out for me, man. Those the ones sending me care packages and all this other stuff. So even Blood. So it was like, man, these dudes ain't my enemies, you know. But I was still caught up in the image. I was still caught up in my loyalty towards my neighborhood or whatever. And, you know, it took a while for me to really get my mind right. It took me 2 trips to the hole to really get my mind right, because my mother basically came to visit me. And it's crazy because she came to visit me one day, her and my dad, and they was like, boy, you're not doing this time by yourself. You're doing it. We're doing this with you. You're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting us, man. So I'm going to challenge you to change your life, change your way of thinking. And, you know, I sat back in that hole and I had to think about it, and I really had to consider what she was saying. So I started getting myself together in like 2000. and coming home and even in prison, Crips and Bloods got along in prison. Throughout the years, they started to get along. They started to just chill and do groups together. We do groups together. We, all to change our life. Our whole goal was to get out of prison. So what it was we'll help each other out. Whether you could be from Hoover or A-Trey or whatever, we was there to help each other. And I'm on a podcast. All right, and it was just about helping each other and building each other up. So moving forward to when I came home, I see that. I went to a unity meeting when I first came home. I went to a gang truce. I seen so many people there, blew my mind. But I knew this is something that needs to happen, man, because us tripping on each other the way we was back in the day, that's for the birds, man. That's not what it's about. And that's why I have to tip my hat to everybody on this panel, Big U, my homie Bear Claw, even my little homie AD, man. I seen him on YouTube with Skip doing some positive stuff with Bloods, and I have to tip my hat to him too, because this is what I want to do. I want to be a part of that. I want to be able to help people and give them a whole nother outlook on things from my story. Let my story impact somebody else. So in order to do that, I got to keep continuously working towards getting myself together and man, it's beautiful, man. And for people that don't know, yeah, my uncle is Raymond Washington. That's my dad's little brother. And it's just, it is what it is on that, but it's just about me growing and just evolving into the man that I strive to be every day. So, I just appreciate it.
Hey,
And I just seen some lifers come
I
back
want
in jail
to add to
since I've
what
been
Ron
home.
said.
Yeah.
And it's a trip that you said that, Ron, because I watched, and Rock, Auntie Joyce, like when my little cousin got locked up, he been gone since what? Gerard been gone since what, like 89?
Yeah.
So when he went to jail, I watched his mother age like 15 years in the first year. And she still wear that pain and that misery on her face to this day while he's incarcerated. And hey, Tony, I want to ask you this, bro. How is it that with your dad being gone, as long as he's been gone, how has that impacted your grandmother and your other family members? Because it's true, Ron, when y'all go and y'all stay gone that long, bro, everybody doing time in the family, bro.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Hey, Tony.
Tony, can you hear him?
Tony.
Tony. Yeah, Tony, you can't hear us?
No.
Yeah, he don't even know.
Hey,
yeah, he don't even know yet.
Hey, Blue.
Yeah.
Blue. No, when you ask Tony that
Blue,
question.
can you hear him, Rock?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
When you ask him that question, it's crazy because I did it the flip side. I knew where I was going, and I knew what I was going to do once I got in. So at 12 years old, my mom told me, my mom came to visit me. I looked her in her face and told her, I ain't got no mom. Get the fuck out of here. And I knew her temper. She was going to say, fuck you and walk away. And I never communicated with my mom since, and all the time I've done. And when I think back at it, not knowing what I was doing, it almost seemed like I was doing that purposely for they don't have to worry about me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but it takes its toll. But I think I purposely pushed my family away.
And I think that you have to.
And
when
what's crazy? If I can interject something real quick, like being on the other side of that, and
exactly,
like watching my grandmother. This ain't see my not my father, my mother's mother raised me. My uncles on my mother's side was always in the feds, but particularly my uncle Gregory. We used to drive up in the mountains to see my uncle, and I remember as she aged, right. Unfortunately, when my uncle was doing life without parole too, like my father, he killed himself in 2012. But I watched you talking about aging. I watch my family members age. My grandmother, I remember one time we go up that joint, drive 5 hours in the mountains, and she can't get in because she got 2 knee replacements. And the knee replacements kept setting off the metal detector. And then my uncle taking his cancer medicine, his high blood pressure medicine. When they do the drug detector joint, they his shit flagged and they ain't let us in. So it's just it be a lot when people during that time, and I seen prison break the closest of bonds, man, because a lot of people just can't sustain that when you gone 1, 2, 3 decades, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like it be a lot, and the stress of that shit is immense on our elders for real. Cause you know a mother's love, that's the strongest love, and a lot of times you know a mother gonna do that time or try her best. But it's particularly you. I mean, but even if you in a big ass state like California, the prisons ain't close. If you in LA and somebody in San Quentin, what's that ride like? 8 hours or something? What's that
about
ride? 6 hours?
About
8
7, 8
hours.
hours.
About 7, 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? And I remember even with us, my father first 13 years, he was in Lompoc, so he was out there. He was in California for first 14 years. I went out there like I don't know, just about 3 times in 14 years. So that prison shit be really breaking bonds. And what I've seen is when that's why I salute the brother Ron, his family being strong, because a lot of times, man, people come from doing all that time, they don't even know their family no more. Their family don't got no space for them, or you know what I mean. That's a part of reentry that I don't think is talked about enough. That's why that family reunification situation, man, is super, super important.
Yeah, that's true.
If it
Chico,
wasn't,
Yeah.
hey, how was it for you, Chico, man? We done got that question out of everybody, man. What about you, brother?
For me, man, like I said, my first case, you know, I went to trial and I won. You know, you don't even win federal cases. This is in 89, 90. So, you know, I get out 2 years. I mean, when I get out 2 years later, and I catch the case with Rick. So, me doing the time, I was programming myself for when I came home, because I understood, like, damn, I've been getting away for so long. So when I end up actually, me and Freeway, when we catch the case, and I actually went to prison, and my whole focus was like, okay, I know what I'm gonna do when I get out this time. It wasn't all the other times it was me coming back to the streets and selling drugs. But this time I programmed myself that I wasn't gonna never go back. Because I set some goals for myself in there, like, man, you know, like everything y'all said is 100% correct. The wear and tear on your parents, man, the wear and tear on your kids, the wear and tear on the family. You know, we can do the time, but at the same time, you hurting your mother and your father more than anything, and the kids. And you got to try to give that back before you can understand what happened to you. And that's when I came home. It was all focused on how do I make my kids feel that I'm their father, as opposed to me going back to prison. So that was one of my main things. I know I wasn't gonna go back, because my focus was on taking care of the kids and getting a strong relationship with my kids and my family. Like my mother, I just put a post on there. My mother is like 98 years old, you know, and all the wear and tear that she had to just deal with me coming visit me in prison and all that stuff. Like that play a major part on people staying focused and not going back. Like you gotta have that, you know, just like I'm listening to Rock on this as everybody, but the focus on, you know, we did a lot of shit, man. When we go to prison, you need your family to communicate. Cause you know, shit, you go into the hole, that shit ain't easy to do. But my focus was to come back home and be strong for the family and be strong for the kids. And so if I can do that, I know that would have kept me out of prison and maintain like you do is a sense of PTSD, what you call that, you know, mental state.
Yeah.
What is it?
PTSD.
PTSD.
That's real talk. And I know, like everybody on this panel, we didn't got shot, we didn't saw somebody get killed, and we never had nobody come to talk to us. And my first 1980, my first time I got shot was in 1976. I lose my friend in 1980 at Centennial High School. It's like I'm in the 10th grade. So he gets shot in front of me and died in my arm in 1980. So I've been going through this shit all my life. You know, I've been a palm bed 20 times. So this is the shit. But I never went to get psychiatric treatment or none of this shit, but the shit runs deep. And if I know if I went through it, all of y'all went through the same type of shit. But nobody talked to us about that, man. We never had no like somebody that you know, because counseling or a counselor, because to us in the black community, like, man, I ain't gonna see no psychiatrist. That's some crazy shit. I ain't crazy. But at the same time, we carry this shit throughout our life. And then you sometimes you wonder why you just sit and just think about some shit. It all goes together. You know, you didn't witness so many murders and shooting all your life. That should become like it's regular. But it's not, man. It's not, you know. And I would never let my kids be part of that part of life where you have to witness that shit all through your life. So, you know, man, I commend everybody that's standing up, man. Everybody on this panel, man. It's big. Like, we can make this shit even bigger because a voice is important to the community. And if we can keep this going, it'll be real big for other kids to listen.
You know, and I wanted to say,
Blue.
I wanted to say
Oh,
that,
go ahead,
I wanted to say that for people that don't know, like the people that's locked up now, that's in prison, they got a lot of groups for them right now. And for like lifers that want to go home or people that don't have life, they got things like Victims Impact, like Victims Awareness, Family Relations, you know, for people that had a distance with family members, how to bring them close together. Criminal thinking talks about your criminal lifestyle, what made you go into that lifestyle. You know, they even have the substance abuse program. They have these different groups right now that can help a person change ways of thinking and give them insight into itself and to what led them to bringing him to jail or called him to gangbang or caused him to start doing the things he was doing. You know what I mean? So, you know, the prison system now is starting to advocate a lot of groups, you know what I'm saying, to help these people so when they do go to board, they can be able to talk about the things they need to talk about and then take that out to the streets and really live what they say they want to be. You know what I'm saying? So, because my goal while I'm out here is to, you know, be like y'all and start to advocate some type of program where I can start or be involved in with somebody else, man, because I really want to help other people, man, because that's what it's about, man. Because, you know, I'm with unity, I'm with whatever it is to make this right amongst the Crips, the Bloods, or even whoever, you know what I'm saying? Because oh, know where we been, we all know what we done. So it's just about what can we do now to help other people, you know what I mean? And help ourselves grow, as well as, you know, I feel proud to just know that I can help somebody, man, because I know I took a life. So everything I do right now, it has to be for my victim. It has to be for my victim's family too, man. You know what I mean? So I gotta, you know, everything I do from this day forward that's good, it gotta be for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real, man.
So, you know,
that's real.
Shit.
Yeah.
Hey, Blue.
Yeah.
Blue. Okay, so
Yes,
when you made your transition, bro, how was it accepted amongst your peers, man? And did you have more guys really advocate for you to push, you know what I'm saying, your agenda over there, or did you have a lot of blowback from it?
I didn't really have no blowback, man, because kind of like, I mean, I did what I did. I did it for over 30-something years, man, and I did it, like I said, I've been gunned down to where they was like, and I've been paralyzed. I've been fought a death penalty case. I fought another case looking at life, you know. So I mean, I went through every possible chain that you can go through to realize that there is no benefits at the end of that. And it's like I looked up, and honestly speaking, I was really like the last man standing.
Let the water get hot.
For my generation. And even the generation before me, I was like really the last man standing. I stayed in it so long, man, where it was like, it's kind of like what Ron said. It's like, damn, like the thrill was gone. You know what I mean? And it was nothing left for it, to the point where I had to say, like, I mean, shit, that's basically what it was, man. It really wasn't an issue, you know what I mean? I didn't have no blowback from my homies or nothing, you know what I mean? Because the same thing that I stand for, which is right, I stood for right when I was in that lane right there. You know what I mean? No matter what. And even in that case, like when my homies would get into it with somebody, I'm not gonna back you, bro. No matter what you do, just because you my homeboy. And this is something that I got from Rocchead as a kid when he was writing me when I was in camp and when I was in youth authority and he was in prison. He would tell me about different little things, him and my homeboy Crybaby. So, you know, about always standing for what's right. So I always stood on that. That's how I still had the great relationships I have with dudes from other neighborhoods and communities to this day, because no matter what, I always stood for not who's right, but what's right. You know what I mean? And if the homie wasn't right, you just ain't right, bro. You know what I mean? So in making that transition, I didn't have no, it was more or less my own mental giving up my own habits that I had occurred in that lifestyle I was used to and everything that came with that. My transition was more or less me against me, because it didn't matter what these dudes did over here or whatever, because I'm still willing to do what I do, even to this day, if it comes to it, because I still move in that paranoid frame of mind and sense of being. I'm still paranoid like that. So if I sense like something ain't right, I can't sleep. You know what I mean? So that, and it's kind of like one of my OGs told me, Big Kamasi, he said, look, young Blue, you don't have to change your style, you just have to change your cause. So I'm still who I am. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing changed. It's just that I'm not gonna mislead my young homies down a road that I know that's gonna lead them to destruction, because I know what I've been through, they not gonna make it out of that. I'm 100% sure they're not gonna make it through what I made it through to come out on this end, because nobody from my era made it through what I made it through. And it's kind of like what Tony and the rest of the brothers said. It's like, damn, like I made it through this, so I had to figure out, like, damn, what was the purpose in that? There was a purpose, you know what I mean, in this, and I just had to figure it out. But I know that it's not what it was. And I have to stand on the principles of being real. What's real? Once you open your eyes and see what's real, then it's not even a question. It's the same thing. Head up, chest out, best foot forward. And it's like, shit, I'm gonna still push the same line like I did then, but it's right here.
Got you, bro. Appreciate that, man.
All right. See if it's clear. See if it's live. All right, it's live.
Kev, you want to take over the questions?
You was doing good.
Always running.
Rocchead, what'd you say?
I just said always running.
Hey, but
no, man, I just want.
If the shoe fit, wear it.
You know, my brother got life. He struck out on 3 strikes. We hoping he get out soon, man. So, Ron, you know, you could probably talk to him, give him some guidance.
About your brother?
Yeah.
Oh, Bam, yeah, man. Bam, my boy. He a good dude, man. I communicate with him, and I think he got struck out on a robbery, huh?
Burglary and a strong arm robbery.
Yeah, strong arm robbery, yeah. So, you know, Bam one of the ones that really deserve to get out, man. He's a good dude, man. He got a good heart and stayed loyal. You know, now I think his loyalty done shifted somewhere else to where I guess his family now, man. The way we talk and discuss things, that it done shifted, and I see change in him, and I just hope that I think they're gonna let him out amongst some other dudes, because I think Lunatic Frank finna go to board too. He finna try to get a date too. So hopefully they let his butt out too. But you know, it's just a lot of people got it, man. It's just the board sometimes seems like they want more than what they want. Insight. They keep running this insight. So when you have insight, then it's something else. But now that these new bills done passed, they got to start letting these people out. So I just hope that everybody get out, get their shot, man, and just take advantage of it, you know, because right now it's, man. And like I was saying, man, I was saying my little, you know, Kev, I seen Lil AD on TV, on YouTube today with Munchie B from Inglewood Family. Man, you know, that was crazy. And the way they talk about change, and them dudes is like rivals, that really like touched me, man. I had to text that boy and say, I'm proud of you, man. You really doing the right thing, man. And you know, anything I can do to be involved, man, let me know, man, because that's, you know, it's cool, man, because motherfucker don't need to be beefing with nobody, man. Motherfucker want to live his life the right way, man. You don't want to be having to watch your back 24/7, man. Adrian did, and my thing, like with you, Kev, you doing so much with video, boy. I'm proud of you, man, because I remember where we was at when we was kids. So it's like the transition is so great, man. Big you, all of it. The transition is so great, man. To where we just got to keep it going for the young homies so they could see the change that we trying to implement in our community, so they can try to follow suit, man. For those that want to, and we can't make everybody do it, but I mean, for those that want to, man, come on.
Right.
That's what we need to be doing, man. For real.
I think they just need examples, man. They know who the big names are in the neighborhood, and if they see everybody doing something right, they're gonna do it right too eventually.
Yeah, and let your boy baby Smack know, man. I love him, man. I ain't heard from him. Say my love to my guy, man.
Oh, he watching.
Yeah, send my love to my guy, but man, I appreciate y'all. I got to go to work,
Okay.
so I appreciate y'all having me. Next time, I'm ready. I'm rolling with y'all, man.
All right, stay productive, homie.
Have a nice one, man.
All right.
All right.
I'll be easy. All
All
right.
right. Yeah, that was cool to run and check in, man. He did a life sentence from age 18, so good to have him back. Just to see how calm he is now, because he used to be a hothead. Yeah. So anything else you guys want to add? Rocchead? Loco?
No, I just I appreciate. Hey, I seen the brother Chico on another interview a while back and stuff when you spoke on about your relationship with Freeway and what y'all went through. So I was already acclimated to who you were, man. But man, I appreciate everything y'all doing in the community. Of course, Rocchead know that, we talk every day. But what you and Blue doing, man, keep it up, man. Y'all doing great things, and it inspires us in other parts of the country, man, more than you think. It make us want to do something too for our people down here. You know what I'm saying? So I be trying to soak up all the little game and stuff in the different aspects of how y'all getting the funding and all that stuff, man, so we can try to make it happen down here.
I appreciate that comment too, man. It's easy to reach out. Don't listen to Rock say I don't answer the phone, but we can exchange numbers. You listen to Rock, he gonna tell him to pick up. But that ain't true. So we can exchange numbers, man, and we can just make it happen. But Rock can tell everybody that I ain't gonna never answer. Take me a week to answer the phone.
If you guys got 30 minutes left in you, the people in the comment section want to ask you guys a couple questions.
Go ahead.
All right, come with them questions, Patrick and the rest of you guys.
So Tony, you said your pops ought to be getting short, huh?
Unfortunately, bro, my father got life without parole, man. So, we fight. We trying to see what's going to happen with this compassionate release around the COVID, and then trying to do something on a 2-point reduction. But right now, he got life without parole, bro.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. I hope everything go well for y'all.
I appreciate that, man.
For sure.
Sure enough.
Yeah, man. So I guess I'm just gonna go all the way back around again. Let me Kev gonna leave me out there. Where's the Coke? Hey Kev. Where's the Coke co-star at?
I was waiting for the questions.
I'm waiting for the Coke co-star to jump in.
Oh. I forgot you had me sleeping last night. No, hey. I got a question.
Can we hear from Tony Lewis Jr. about his programs in D.C.? I don't know if he could hear us.
Tony.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
You see it, Tony?
Yeah, they want to know about the program.
That question before me?
Yeah.
My joint delayed or something. What was the question?
Can you hear me, Tony? They saying can we hear from Tony Lewis Jr. about the programs you got going on in DC?
Oh, programs, big man. So from everything from, helping men and women when they return, around employment, treatment, mental health, housing, being a vocational development coordinator for our supervision agency in DC. That's part of my responsibility. Also, we got programs like the Office of Neighborhood Engagement and Safety that focuses in on, our most quote unquote high risk individuals that are most at risk of being victims of violent crime or perpetrator of violent crime. Trying to engage them. We've got an incredible program called Pathways, where we really do an intensive, program aimed at getting these guys into any entrepreneurial or employment endeavors that they want. And then, we got a lot of about $8 million put in the city's budget to create this agency. It's a government agency, and that money is able to be facilitated through that agency to get to community-based programming, for that real intensive on the ground work. And, also, working to help school systems identify children with incarcerated parents, support them, support their families, and connect their families to other supportive services and wraparound services. So my work really spans over the entire landscape in DC. It's not really one particular program. I really become somewhat of a thought leader in the city around, policy and legislation and programming aimed at helping our people. And in DC, you know what I'm saying? Everybody who, if you know anything about DC historically has been Chocolate City. And, really, we in our city, the only people going through it is Black people, period. It ain't nobody else. It ain't no people of color issue or none of that. It's Black people. We suffering. It's really a state of emergency for Black people from DC. All the other Black people in DC doing amazing. And so we got this interesting dynamic where the native Washingtonian is in a state of emergency and everybody else thriving. And I feel like I'm one of the people to stand in the gap to help my people thrive, the people of circumstance, the people that went through the crack epidemic, the people that's dealing with mass incarceration, homelessness, gentrification, education and skill set gaps, and all of the above. So that's pretty much a synopsis of my programming or my work.
Very inspirational.
Hey, Tony, how was you able to
It's a whole lot, man.
go ahead. Yeah, I want to know how's you able to penetrate them government agencies to be
Go
able
ahead,
to
Blue.
affect change policy and make them allocate them funds where they need to go? Because I be seeing you moving.
Yeah, I bet, over this 20 years, Blue, of me grinding, you know what I'm saying? I just built up a whole lot of equity and my people follow me. My people have come out for me and I've led a lot of things. And so one thing I've learned about these politicians, if they feel like you can impact who they are or where they are, then they listen. You know what I'm saying? And if they feel like it can be some benefit, right? If it's some political gain for them, so you got to paint that picture of why they would want to work with you. There's a lot of politicians or council members that I'm cool with now that our relationship started off incredibly rocky because I was going at them about their inability to help our people. And so I think the work, the grind, and that's why we got to teach our people, though, that when we mobilize, when we organize, we speak in one voice, we can get a lot of things done. And we also got to get our people conditioned to some people feel a way about voting, but you gotta, if a politician ain't gonna care about you if you can't change his or her reality. I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying? And we see that so much, but we gotta be strategic and intentional in the way that we do that. But through my maturation as an activist, it really was about they saw that I could move people. And I was unrelenting and I was there every day. Like I was doing things every day. My work spoke more than even me speaking. You know what I'm saying? And it really, I'm still in that fight though every day because at some point for DC, leadership and all that's running away from the people. We losing bodies every day. We had over the last 10 years, we done had like 30,000 black people exit the city. You know what I'm saying? So now, and then real quick though, we don't even have a halfway house no more, y'all. So when our brothers were releasing now, when they go to halfway house, they gotta go to halfway house in Baltimore, halfway house in Wilmington, Delaware, halfway house in Norfolk, Virginia. So you do your time all across the country, and then you even get released outside of DC. So 10 years ago, that wouldn't have happened because them people, families would have been here. Like there's no way we can't have a halfway house. But now, the families of individuals coming home, they still here to a certain degree, but a lot of them, they poor, they don't have a voice, they're not civically or politically engaged. So we got to change that. And the people that we represent the most, once we get them stabilized, then we need them on the front lines with us.
That's dope.
Hey, Tony.
They had a question for you and Chico, Rocchead. Kev, could you put it back up there for me?
Hold on real quick. Tony. Can you hear me, Tony?
Tony.
Damn. All right.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah, my fault. What'd you say? I ain't hear you.
Hey, Tony, can you hear me? Tony.
Rocchead, I can't hear Mr. Rocchead. I can't hear him.
Go ahead, Rocchead. I'll tell him.
Now, back in the 90s, when I first hooked up in DC, y'all had an organization called Peaceaholic. And that organization
back in the 90s.
You had an organization called Peaceaholics. And that organization.
We can't hear you, Rocchead.
You can't hear me?
Tell me what he's saying.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I said back in the 90s, y'all had an organization called Peaceaholics.
Yeah, that was Ahmaud. Yeah.
And that's when I first got into DC. And with that, Peaceaholic, what they created, Loco, any kid that was late or absent from school, they would grab all them kids trying to ditch and put them in a cafeteria and bring Peaceaholic staff in there, guys like us. And they had a great.
Say, y'all.
So I need to get my point across to him. He know what I'm talking about. Anyway, go ahead, though. Go ahead. We'll talk, Tony, because for some reason you can't hear me.
Yeah, that's
he said y'all to talk, Tony.
Okay, yeah, but I am, the funny thing about the Peaceaholics, you know what I'm saying? I used to work real closely with them. I actually used to train because they had majority of their staff was returning citizens, dudes coming home from jail, and I trained they used to come through my class, my reentry program before getting placed over there with Ahmaud. And for the last most of my career, I've worked very closely with the founders of the Peaceaholics, and a lot of my clients or dudes I work with went there to work, went to work for them as outreach workers.
Yeah. It was impressive. I just wanted to share that with you. That's how I met Jihad.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. They was doing. Listen, the work that they did, it still hasn't, in my mind, been been duplicated. And the money that we got to put in the budget for this thing called the NEAR Act, it really was to sort of recreate the Peaceaholics in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? Like when they was doing, I started off doing violence interruption, but then my thing became reentry, and I used to assist them a great deal. It's just, and then they got involved. There's another thing that I would share to anybody out there listening to this. You in terms of playing political games and all that, or being politically involved, that I don't think that necessary to me. And I think this is something they did that they shouldn't have done. When you don't choose no sides in politics, if you are a community-based organization, you are loyal to the people. You know what I'm saying? And I saw something that was saving lives get defunded just because they was on the wrong side of politics. Yeah. And we can't never do that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why for me, I've always just tried to have cordial conversations with those people. I'm not campaigning for nobody. I'm not endorsing nobody. You know what I'm saying? Show me your actions with the people, because people will try to blackball you based on that. And definitely it's a balancing act, you feel me? But as a community-based organization, I just feel like our loyalty always got to be to the people and not to no one or two politicians.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
The question they was asking me and you, Chico, was a couple of questions. Someone wanted to know, was you and Freeway Rick is still going to do a documentary coming up soon or do something? And the other question for me and you, Chico, were, is there any kind of program or do we got any relationships up north in Northern California, the Bay Area?
Well, let me answer the first question about me and Rick doing another documentary. I'm just gonna say this since we've been home. There's, first I did American Gangster before we even came home. And then after that, there's been a few movies, Kill the Messenger, the other movie that John Singleton did, Snowfall, Snowflake, Snowfall. For all them years, I can say this, and I can vouch for Rick on this too. People have taken our story and did movies on it, and none of us got paid off this stuff. And we was a consultant at first on Snowfall, but political wise, how they turned that story around and just made it a story about the CIA bringing drugs to us and all that stuff. The story has some facts, but it's actually it's watered down. It's not true, but people actually, watch that stuff and they say, is that Freeway story? Is that, for me, I'm not doing no more documentary. I got control of it because the story keep getting twisted because that ain't what really happened. That ain't how the story went, So like I tell Rick all the time, like, it's no way that I'm gonna continue to do these documentaries. The only way I'm doing a documentary if I do it for my company and put it out myself, because I couldn't even watch Snowfall because I know how fake it is. Like, me and Rick is the only one went to prison for this stuff, like for dealing with Blandon, dealing with the CIA and that part. But then you watch the story and it's all extorted in some different kind of way. Are you really trying to make some young dude trying to sell drugs but not telling the truth about how this shit really happened? So no, I'm not gonna do another documentary unless I've got full control of the documentary and I can tell the story of how it went and how we was involved in that, the transition of selling drugs for our country, selling drugs for the United States. The real point of this shit, like, people don't know how deep that shit was. But at the same time, and you got people talking about, they sing about it, they say all this shit. But what I'm saying to the world, how we was going down there to Nicaragua and all that stuff and how we really got caught up. And the shit, when you watch it, when I watch the shit on TV or if it's a documentary and the shit get changed. So for me, no. And if you ask Rick, I don't know what Rick would do about another documentary or all that stuff. But for me, no, I'm not doing it. And then for the programs in Oakland and stuff, like 2003, I did have something going on down there. But no, at this moment I don't. But any state, any city, I'm willing to go in there and talk and do whatever I can to help. And whatever support I can give, I'm that's what I do. I don't mind getting on a plane, traveling and going help. So, I don't know, Rock, if you want to go down there to Oakland, set something, we can do that. We know how to get the money. We know how to, grants. We know how to get the city money and all that stuff. So it's just a willing, if somebody invite us to do that and put the programs together, yeah, I'll go out there. But if you ask me right now, no, I don't have nothing in Oakland. In DC too. The man from DC, yeah, Tony, I went to DC a lot. My good partner is about to come home in 2 weeks. Curtis Malone. I was part of his program, his basketball program out there for years. with Mike Beasley and all of them. DC Assault.
Yes,
so
sir.
I lived in DC with him before he got arrested. Before he, but I know he come home next week.
That was unfortunate. Nice. Yeah, I heard somebody reach out to me saying he was short.
Yeah, he come on. He come on like a week, next week. I talked to him yesterday.
That's what I was talking about the halfway house, because he was due to come home maybe a couple of weeks ago for real if the halfway house was open, but hopefully he got home confinement. I'm assuming, so that's good. I'm happy to hear that.
I talked to him like 2 or 3 days ago. He told me less than a week or two, so he's on his way home. So Curtis a good dude, man, and the way all that stuff happened political wise, and the way he got caught up, and he had the biggest program you know, and Rock can tell you that, and we produce a lot of pros that went to the league. So
Yeah, actually, you know, KD jump the documentary come on Showtime Friday, but I
yeah, Kurt
mean, but
Hennig
all
too.
them dudes, yeah, he got to be. That's what I
Yeah,
was getting at. I
yeah,
ain't
yeah.
seen
He
it,
told me he got
but
no
he
piece
has
in
to
it.
be.
And Sidney, you know, his son
Shit,
is Nolan, who Nolan coached for Duke, but Nolan is in
right?
there and his daughter. So all that stuff
Yeah,
we was all doing positive stuff back then. And when I came home, we
for sure.
continued to do the stuff. So, and Kurt got so many pros in the league. When dudes make it to the league, and Rock can attest to this, we get them kids from when they 9 or 10 years old and take care of their whole life. Then they get to the league, some of them switch up. So
Yeah,
it's like that. I'm talking about when a kid didn't have nothing and taking them from nothing to the league. I'm at the draft with Mike Beasley. I'm at the draft with DeMar. I'm there sitting at the table.
got you.
The shit, as soon as that money comes, it ain't like us back in the days. We spent that stuff. When they get their money, it's a whole different ball game. It's like they
Yep.
don't know
Yeah,
you no more. Kirk went through that situation. So people always say, well, how did Kirk get in the game? He got this person in the pros, he got that person. And that lifestyle, he kind of continue that lifestyle. Them dudes wasn't looking out for him. He had a number 1 draft pick, had a number 2 draft pick, and the dudes don't look out. So you stuck in a situation like, man, let's make it happen. And that's
yeah,
definitely
man.
what happened to him. I want to play
Yeah,
with him
man.
when he go and get caught. I'm with him. So
Wow,
so
wow.
that's the part of this life. And it's just hard. Like, you do your best and try to get these kids like Rock, all the kids we got. Do his best. I've seen everything. We trying to get the kids motivated, educational wise, get them into the program. But it's really heartbreaking when they make it and they don't look out for the program. That's like a big letdown. And
Yeah,
Rock,
I can
for me,
imagine.
I got it. And I got a number 8 pick in the league. Don't do shit for the program he came from. I got a number 2 pick in the league. Oh, I got a number 21 pick. Oh, I got him in.
If I name some of the names that you got and me, man, it's like, damn, like for real, like all these dudes who went, when nobody else would help them, we picked them up off the street and help them, and then they switch up, and I know, like the political part of it, like the NBA tell them no fuck with us. That's what they told DeMar, about me, like, man, he's this, he was an ex-drug dealer, he did that. So they, they influence him to take the kids away from you. They tell them everything that you done did in life. So now the kid looking at you like, and I don't want to get caught up fucking with him. I don't want to get this. So the NBA plant this seed in their head, like, you got to fuck with them. And then they end up fucking with the white man, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Real talk. Like, Mike Beasley, Mike stayed with, like, Mike is a good kid, man. He came out here, stayed with me, everything. Number 2 draft pick. That money just they never was used to having money, so when they got some, it just switched everything. So that's what Kurt whole problem today when he come home, like, Sheik, man, I can't believe they did be like this. And I'm talking about all of them from DC who, KD looked out for him recently, they looking out now, but when he was in there, nobody looked out.
Yeah, when I heard that, me and him ain't got no real personal relationship, but I got a lot of respect for him. You know what I'm saying? I know people that know him, and I know what he done. Everything that you saying to be a fact. That's why when that situation happened, and I know the other guy that was in that situation too. You know what I'm saying? That
I
really
was
got that.
when he came home. I was there in DC. I went to the party, and when he came home, I was there. I was there in the neighborhood and over there and everything.
Yeah, when they got jammed, I'm like, damn, what he still, you know what I'm saying, trying to, bust a move or whatever. And them dudes, it's just crazy, man. So, I don't know what type of principles these guys be brought up on them. I actually interviewed for a documentary they did on Kurt before, and I was saying that, like, I know the public don't understand what it be taking when coaches be really saving these dudes' lives. Because these dudes, without y'all, man, they wouldn't even be there. I don't understand how they I guess they get caught up in the lights. How could you forget the people that was with you when you ain't had nothing? You know what I'm saying?
I can't understand it.
It's also a form of systemic racism when we look at it, because
they ain't built right, man. That's all I can
like
say.
you said, we nurture these guys and cultivate them and groom them, and then they kidnap them. Let me tell you, I know some guys in the NFL, their dads can't even get to them without going through one of their managers or their agents.
Real talk.
I mean, that's just how crazy it is, you know that. And it's kind of like they take all our resources and funnel them over there to their organizations and their communities, and they leave us desolate down here, you know. And that's the sad thing about it. So I feel you on that, Chico and Rock. You know, I've seen it.
Rock can tell you now, man. It's 2 white boys in L.A. That's all they've been doing all their life, and they've been doing it. And if I ask Magic or Denzel to come to my shit, it'll be a problem. But these two, the Pumps, been doing this shit for 20 years and racking all the money. Don't have no job, but they've been doing this shit for over 20 years. But if me and Rock ask these dudes to come, we want to do a foundation, we want to do this, we want to honor you, man, they look at us like we crazy. The only way I got in fucking with it because of Mark Wahlberg and Penny Marshall. But at the same time, I see it every day. They make, they benefits is going $2 and $3 million. And Denzel and all of them just showing up. They don't even know these dudes. And they don't even have a program like that. But that's just like you said, the racism, the systemic racism is real. Because they, I want to be around this dude. I want to make, it's just crazy, but it's real talk.
Man, and I want to, can I chime in on that, brother? Hey, as far as that's concerned, it seemed like a situation where those guys, like you say, y'all cultivated them and raised them up. And then as soon as they got that money, they took off and ran from the responsibility, you know what I'm saying, that they had to everything. But the people that ain't even helping nobody, they quick to help. They quick to go and be a part of their situation, man. That's crazy. It's like Blue said, that's racism within our own people.
And Rock got some all-star players that's in the league, in the NBA, all-star players. Me too. But this shit is, it's the craziest thing ever.
All right, we can go on and start wrapping it up, you guys. It was a good show, very informational. There was one question to you, Chico, about which character was you in Snowfall.
I never watched it. The lawyers told us, me and Rick, to watch it so we can, because that one time we was like, okay, we got to sue them, So the lawyer gave me and Rick to watch this shit. But I'm like, man, I can't watch it. I watched one episode. I don't know which character. I don't know nothing. I just know that's our story. But I never watched not one episode of this shit because, John, before Kenya sitting right here, called me and said John wanted to talk to me about the show. And so I was like, I don't want to do no show about this. But he ended up doing the story. He took the book from Rick that Rick wrote. He, got some articles out the paper, and did it. I never watched it because I was like, man, I'm not watching no show about us. And I know it ain't real because they just got this out the newspaper. So I don't know what character I am because I don't even know the names of the characters.
Hey, and it's crazy because I think me and you talked about this too, Tony, when you was out here, about how these dudes will come in on these causes that we have and we'll empower them and they'll take the cause, but they won't empower nobody back in the community. Remember that conversation, Tony?
Tony, can you hear him?
Nah, I can't hear Blue. What he said?
Okay. Hey, he said, do you remember back in the day, man, y'all used to have these kind of conversations about dudes that betray y'all, basically, when y'all trying to help them out and implement different stuff, they'll take it and flip it on y'all, basically, and go the other way with it.
About different causes, like Kaepernick and all these other different causes, these community causes.
Go and do it on their own?
About like Kaepernick and all the different other topics and stuff.
The community causes.
Kev, can you break it down to it?
Yeah, I hear you, Loco. You said, but what? I ain't getting the question though. You said,
say it again, bro.
About how these athletes and these entertainers will have causes, and then they'll jump into our causes and they'll run away with our causes, and instead of empowering us or somebody in the community, they'll run with that cause for themselves.
Can somebody tell me what he said?
Kev, if you don't tell him what he said, man.
You the co-host?
It's hard for me to really repeat it.
I can't hear Kev either.
Go ahead, Rocchead.
Huh?
So he said, I think the question was, how do you
what's up
feel
with my
about
joint?
people, celebrities that jump in on our calls?
Hey,
And
Kev, I can't hear you, bro.
oh, you can't hear me
He
either?
said, how do you feel about, he said you and Blue had discussions about celebrities to jump in on y'all's calls.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We, that's a thing, man. Like, you get people who attach themselves to you for their benefit or for the moment, and then they disappear. Like they ain't there to really go all the way. And also at the same time, Blue and I talked about, like, obviously not allowing that to happen again, right? But then also, like, how do we just hold these dudes more accountable for what they say they about? And if they not about it, then how, just letting them know that it ain't okay to really, like, leverage your relationships with us. You know what I mean? Because, like, if a certain person or whomever, like, being associated with me in my city means something. Just like being associated with any of y'all in LA or in Houston or San Antonio or whatever with y'all, it'll get them a certain light. And then they gone. They take that to their advantage, and that stuff actually equates to revenue for them, honestly, whether it's record sales, shows, whatever the case. And then we still left in the community, you know what I mean, with nothing, because we just doing it for the greater good. And so, I vow that, in this year, 2020, and then moving forward, that's no longer allowed. You know what I'm saying? We not allowing that, because really that don't do nothing for me. And where I'm from, you know what I mean? Because even when I'm thinking about stuff like, turkey drives, or I'd use that as an example. But where I'm from, I don't need no celebrity with me to do that, or that don't raise my stock. Again, it's not mutually beneficial. So I've definitely, learned that we ain't doing that no more, and we're gonna hold these people more accountable. I think this COVID thing too is an opportune time for a lot of our affluent, whether it's athletes, entertainers, whatever the case may be, to really put their money where their mouth is. And even I'm gonna tell y'all, and I ain't gonna be long-winded, but also I'm tired of them when they do give, in whatever way that their money be going to these white-led organizations. You know what I'm saying? Why gotta always be all this thought and all this in-depth research when they give it to a black organization? But they give it to these organizations with the pretty website that ain't doing a motherfucking thing in the communities that we come from. You know what I'm saying? So I really feel like we gotta, again, collectively start holding people to the fire. You should be giving to the organizations that's doing the most work, the organizations that's on the ground. And if they got a problem with their paperwork or they tax, then pay somebody to help them do that too. You know what I mean? I'm over all these excuses of why the organizations and the communities that's led by us ain't getting the money. Our books ain't right. Oh, man, fuck that. Then pay for somebody to get the books right and donate the money to where it's gonna really get to the people that need it the most.
But Tony, can you hear me? Tony,
can you hear Rocchead?
I can't hear Rocchead. All I can hear is you.
All right,
now.
Rocchead,
Like...
sir. Come on, man.
All I can hear is you, Loco.
All I can hear is you, Loco. Co-host.
What you got for him, Rock?
No. Basically, it ain't just those who paperwork is messed up. You got those of us who paperwork is in great standings and no glitch in it, and they still refuse to reach out and give to us.
He said, even though, he said basically, man, that even if your paperwork is right, they still refuse a whole lot of times to help.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I was just talking about, man, excuses that they be throwing up there. And that's I mean, people got proven track records, like Rocchead is saying, you know what I mean? That is no way. There's no way that money go there. I'm just throwing this out there.
Hold on, Tony. Hold on. Somebody got their TV up, y'all.
Yeah, we're gonna shut it down now. We've been on 2 hours.
All right.
I'm just saying, there's no way that the money in these money don't get to these organizations that have proven track record. It's just no. And the time when I was in LA, me and Blue talk about that a lot. Like, it just don't make sense. It's no way. And they give money freely to these white-led organizations. I'm not trying to make this about race, but these organizations are not in our communities. They're not, and if they are there in terms of just like on a superficial topical level, they not in the trenches. The resources and the funding need to be where the people are. You know what I'm saying? And we got to start really, truly holding people accountable to that, man. For real.
That's real. Kev, that good a stopping point?
Unless Blue want to respond to that.
Blue? Kev said, do you want to respond to anything?
Hey, no, I just agree with everything that Tony say. We got to hold these people to the fire. You know what I mean? Because we out here doing the work, and we just got to call them on their bullshit. You know what I mean? And leverage our position and our power of influence that we have. You know, because without us, don't nothing move. You know what I mean? And we got to stop attaching these dudes and attach them as needed if they want to be attached to the cause. But they can't stand in the front. No, they have to get behind us or any other cause that's moving the community forward.
That's right.
Right.
I agree.
All right, thanks, Blue and Chico Brown, Tony Lewis Jr., Rocchead and Loco. Appreciate you guys for the discussion.
All right.
People feel like these conversations are needed.
Appreciate
Thank you, Kev, man.
All right.
I appreciate you guys, man. Much love.
God
man.
bless everybody, man.
Y'all ever need me, man, I'm a call away.
All right,
Need
for sure.
that.
All right.
Peace and love.
All right, for sure.
All right, everybody.
All right.
All right.
Baby, let's do this.
All right, appreciate y'all, soldier.
All right, for sure, Blue.
All right, nephew.
All right, Rocchead. I'll see you on another channel.
Right.
All right, Blue. Thanks. That'll do it for today's live. We're going to head over to the Black channel, KM Video live streams, for some jokes. Y'all want to bag on Loco? Y'all want to talk some shit to Loco? Or y'all want to ask some silly questions? Over there on the Black channel. Thanks for watching, y'all. Thanks, Super Chats. Thanks, Shell Mac, and everybody. Peace.